clips a guy,
crazy.
bro? What is going on?
He's going to be hell on wheels in the first round, for sure. He's going to be hell on wheels. You know, because I don't know how long he can go. I don't know what his joints feel like.
Joe Rogan has reacted to Mike Tyson brutally knocking out a sparring partner in a new leaked footage. On the other hand, Roy Jones Jr., the legendary multi-weight world champion, has offered a stern caution to Jake Paul about the formidable challenge of stepping into the ring with Mike Tyson. Despite Tyson's age, Jones, who was Tyson's last opponent in their 2020 exhibition bout dubbed Lockdown Knockdown, recalls all too well the sheer power Tyson still wields. In an interview with Shane Mosley, when questioned about the toughest opponent he'd ever faced, Jones didn't hesitate. He immediately named Tyson as the hardest puncher he had ever encountered. He said, "Mike Tyson is still the strongest puncher that I've ever been in the ring with. Ever. Now I think he's 57, maybe 58, yet he's still the strongest puncher. The first time he hit me on my chin, I felt like a mule had kicked me in my chest." Although the bout was officially declared a draw, many fans and punch statistics suggested Tyson had the edge. The event garnered positive reactions, showcasing that matches between retired boxers can still be thrilling without diminishing their storied careers. Jones's remarks carry significant weight as Jake Paul prepares to face Tyson in a professional bout this November. The fight, featuring milder rules due to Paul's 30-year age gap with Tyson, has sparked widespread criticism. Despite this, Paul has vowed to bulk up, a strategy Jones endorses as essential, though not without its flaws. Jones commented, "If he's at 230, that can make it very interesting. Jake's not going to fight close, and he can't stay away from him because Mike will close the gap too quickly. I thought I could stay away from him. I couldn't, and I know I'm better at staying away from people than Jake is." Jones also warned that Paul's added muscle might not be enough to hold Tyson at bay. Jake accepted the extra weight, understanding that he wouldn't be able to maintain distance. Despite knowing he can't avoid Tyson entirely, Jake is banking on his newfound strength to push him back and keep him at arm's length. Jones dismissed the question about Tyson's age slowing him down, or Paul's youth giving him an edge, saying it didn't apply here. The real key is pushing Tyson back, especially if you're big enough to do so, as he's less effective moving backward. But remember, you've never been hit with his power before, so we'll just have to wait and see. Jones's observations add an unexpected layer of intrigue, deepening the suspense as the long-anticipated confrontation draws near. On ProBox TV, an enthusiastic Tim Bradley threw his support behind Iron Mike, passionately asserting that the relaxed rules play to the veteran's advantage. The former two-weight champion turned analyst expressed his belief that a knockout might be imminent. He said, "Mike Tyson, knock his ass out, baby." At first I thought about it. I was like, this is kind of crazy, but then I saw the rules. It said knockouts, knockdowns. It's official, it can happen. 2 minutes. That's going to favor Mike Tyson. 2 minutes instead of 3. No doubt about it. Think about it, a 2-minute drill. Bradley further added, "He comes out in the first 4 rounds like he's always blazing. Mike Tyson, getting him against the ropes, banging him to the body, hitting him with power shots. Come on, man. He has the potential to knock this man out. You know that power is the last thing that leaves you. This is Mike Tyson we're talking about. 2 minutes. That's all it takes. He can get the knockout. Knock Disney Boy the hell out." Meanwhile, UFC Hall of Famer Michael Bisping believes that if Jake Paul competed in the Olympics, he'd struggle to shape the narrative in his favor. Following Team USA's disappointing performance in boxing, where they secured just a single medal, Paul revealed his intention to compete in the 2028 Olympics. Known as the problem child, he boasts a 10-1 record as a professional boxer. His latest victory came in July, when he delivered a knockout blow to Mike Perry in the 6th round of their cruiserweight bout. Bisping expressed his intrigue over Paul's decision, noting that Paul won't have any influence over the selection of his opponents. On his YouTube channel, Bisping commented that while it's understandable Paul wants to compete in the Olympics, he respects him for it. He pointed out that Jake Paul is taking an unconventional approach by moving from being a well-known figure with several professional boxing matches to competing as an amateur. Bisping also mentioned that the recent Olympic gold medalist had already fought in 4 professional bouts. He added that if Jake Paul were to win the Olympics, it would be an incredible achievement.
All right, so fair enough. The man wants to go and compete in the Olympics. And you know what? I've actually got a lot of respect for him. Now, I did think that professional boxers weren't allowed to compete at the Olympics, but that rule changed in 2016. Now, Jake Paul's kind of doing it the opposite way around because he's very famous. He's had a lot of professional boxing fights and he's going to go to the amateurs. But the guy that just won the Olympic gold medalist, he's actually had 4 professional boxing bouts as well. Now, if Jake Paul was to win the Olympics, I mean, that would be incredible.
Bisping further remarked that if Jake Paul were to compete in the Olympics and win, he would join the ranks of legendary boxers like Muhammad Ali, George Foreman, Joe Frazier, Oscar De La Hoya, Lennox Lewis, Pernell Whitaker, and Mark Breland. However, Bisping pointed out that in the Olympics, Paul wouldn't have the luxury of controlling the promotion, meaning he couldn't handpick his opponents. Bisping also noted that Paul wouldn't be able to choose opponents who are far past their prime, such as a 58-year-old Mike Tyson. He emphasized that the last time Paul faced an opponent of his own size and weight, he ended up losing.
And he would join the likes of the great Muhammad Ali, the GOAT, George Foreman, Joe Frazier, Oscar De La Hoya, Lennox Lewis, Pernell Whitaker, Mark Breland. The list goes on. So many fantastic Olympic boxing champions. Anthony Joshua. Now, of course, for Jake Paul, if he did go and fight in the Olympics, well, first of all, it wouldn't be his promotion, would it? So he wouldn't be able to cherry pick opponents. He wouldn't be able to take people that are way past their sell-by date, like Mike Tyson, who's 58 years old. No, the man that just won the Olympics, got the gold medal from Uzbekistan, it was Lazizbek Mulajonev. This man is 25 years old and he is 6'4", okay? The last time Jake Paul fought somebody his own size and weight, we know that he lost.
On November 15th, Paul will step back into the ring to face boxing icon Mike Tyson at AT&T Stadium in Dallas, a matchup that stirred considerable criticism. Bisping noted that if Jake Paul were to compete in the Olympics, several aspects of his career would change. He explained that Paul wouldn't be able to cut weight, as he usually does since Olympic boxing requires athletes to compete every few days. Additionally, Bisping pointed out that the event wouldn't be Paul's promotion, meaning everything wouldn't revolve around him. There also wouldn't be a significant payday involved. Instead, Paul would be participating to represent his country, challenge himself, and potentially become an Olympic gold medalist.
He goes to the Olympics, a lot of things will change, that's for sure. Number one, he wouldn't be able to cut weight because in the Olympics, you're going to have to box every few days, okay? It wouldn't be his promotion, so everything's not going to be centered around him. There wouldn't be a massive payday on display. He will be doing it literally to represent his country and to test himself and potentially become an Olympic gold medalist.
Meanwhile, Daniel Cormier, the former UFC 2-division champion, hasn't exactly warmed to Jake Paul's boxing career. Their tension boiled over during the UFC 261 pay-per-view event, leading to a fiery confrontation that only ended when security intervened to break them apart. Since diving into professional boxing in January 2020, Paul has established a remarkable presence in the sport, boasting an impressive 10-1 record. His notable victories include 6 wins against former UFC fighters, a strategy that sparked considerable debate among fans and analysts. As he prepares to face boxing legend Mike Tyson in his next bout, Jake Paul has also thrown down the gauntlet to UFC light heavyweight champion Alex Pereira and combat sports sensation Conor McGregor, hinting at future clashes. Paul has also unveiled his ambitious plan to vie for a gold medal in boxing at the 2028 Los Angeles Olympics, aiming to bring glory to the United States. This announcement follows the U.S. boxing team's disappointing showing at the Paris Olympics, where they managed only a single medal and missed out on gold. In a recent appearance on the BS with Jake Paul podcast, he shared his thoughts. "I'm going to enter the 2028 Olympics for boxing in Los Angeles. I'm sick and tired of waiting around and waiting for another gold for Team USA. I've definitely added another couple of years to my boxing career because of that. But Los Angeles, United States, I'm going to do it. Why not? 2028 Olympics, you heard it here first. Gold medal, you're mine, brother." Cormier took to Instagram to counter the allegations, sharing a post via MMA Fighting that showcased Paul's remarks. Perplexed by the problem child's assertions, Cormier responded, "Does he not understand he has to qualify? And he can't be a pro fighter and be going backward to amateur. This is crazy. How do people buy this?" In a recent chat with MMA Junkie, Daniel Cormier gave his take on the upcoming fight, asserting that Tyson has the power to take Paul down with a knockout. He stated, "I don't even know how to call this a fight. Honestly, I don't even know how it's a fight. It's a weird deal, but I think it'll be fun. I think if Mike Tyson can fight and is free to just fight the way he wants to, he's either gonna knock Paul out or he's gonna get caught with something that's gonna get him knocked out. But hell, I'm watching it. It'll be fun as long as it lasts." In contrast, Jake may face another seasoned heavyweight once he finishes his bout with Mike Tyson. Kevin McBride has signaled his readiness to challenge Paul next, contingent on Jake's success against Tyson. He said, "If Jake Paul takes the mantle of the last man to beat Mike Tyson, then I'd hope Jake Paul would give me the opportunity to fight him. Then he'd have the chance to be the last man to beat Tyson and McBride. I'd jump in there with him." Paul is unlikely to entertain any proposal from McBride, as it pales in comparison to the potentially lucrative chance presented by a bout with Tyson. Back in 2006, when Iron Mike was still on the decline, McBride managed to spar with Tyson and secure an easy victory. Given Tyson's history of medical problems, his physical condition has probably deteriorated further. Despite the criticism Paul faces for selecting Tyson as an opponent and growing concerns from doctors about Tyson's health should he lose, the allure of the Tyson fight remains significantly more appealing. Tyson is a fierce puncher, and McBride, who initially found it difficult to deal with his aggression, has warned the influencer to notify the referee if he seems about to break the rules. He said, "Keep your hands up and watch that he doesn't spit out his mouthpiece, and if he does, tell the ref." I'd warn Jake Paul to make sure Mike doesn't spit his mouthpiece out, because if he does, you never know what's going to happen. You don't know what Mike Tyson is going to do. He's a fearsome man. Paul is preparing to dive into new ventures in boxing, driven by his daring goal of clinching a world championship. Over the next year, he may also have the chance to face high-profile opponents, such as Tommy Fury and KSI, potentially leading to some lucrative matchups. McBride added, "It takes balls to get in the ring with Tyson, even in his 50s. Whether you're a YouTuber or a fighter, it takes big balls. Tyson is no joke." Even though the match's regulations are meant to temper the intensity, numerous fighters have voiced their disapproval of Paul for allegedly disrespecting the sport by pushing for this bout. BJ Flores, the former coach of the YouTuber-turned-fighter, noted that Iron Mike was keen on having the fight officially recorded for both fighters. He said, "Mike wants to fight. Mike wanted the fight. It wasn't Jake searching Mike out. Mike wanted the opportunity, and make it not an exhibition, a real fight. Jake loves Mike. He thought it was a big event. Netflix got behind and the AT&T Stadium got behind it." The former world title contender stated that the fight puts Paul in a no-win situation. Either he suffers a defeat or he shocks the boxing world by toppling a legend. He said, "It's gonna be a lot of fun for a lot of people to watch, but it's kind of a lose-lose for Jake, because you don't want to beat Mike, and if Mike beats you then, you know, Mike's still dangerous. It'll be a good event. I'm gonna watch it." Of course, people have mixed feelings about it, but they're not the ones in the ring. Tyson and Paul are set to clash at Fanatics Fest in New York City on August 18th. After the event's date was shifted, Paul eagerly seized the opportunity to face former UFC fighter Mike Perry in July. Paul secured a victory with a 6th-round technical knockout, elevating his professional boxing record to a noteworthy 10-1. On the heels of his big win over Perry, Paul commented on the impending showdown with Tyson, saying, "After eating Mike Perry as an appetizer, I'm ready to go for the main course on Friday, November 15th. When Tyson and Paul face off on November 15th, Tyson is poised to leverage his extensive experience and impressive credentials. With a remarkable 50-6 record and a collection of heavyweight titles, Tyson's career speaks for itself. In contrast, Paul, at just 27 years old and with only 11 fights under his belt, has a much brief yet recent boxing career, having competed in the past 4 years. His previous opponents have largely been ex-MMA fighters or lesser-known boxers, making Tyson the most formidable rival Paul has encountered so far. While we wait, Tyson Fury has shared his prediction for the much-anticipated showdown between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul. Fury is confident that Tyson will not only dazzle the audience, but also give the problem child a lesson he won't forget when they meet in the ring. In a video, the Gypsy King stated, "Listen, if Mike Tyson hits anybody, I don't care if he's 90, he's gonna knock them out cold, isn't he? Obviously, I have to back Mike Tyson. I'm named after the legend and I'll back him. As he always backs me, I'm backing Mike for the knockout. Come on, Mike." In a recent turn of events that's raising eyebrows among fans, Mike Tyson has released new training footage that has everyone talking. Last month, Nakisa Badarian, Paul's manager, revealed that while Tyson had resumed his strength and conditioning workouts, he hadn't yet made his return to the boxing ring. However, the legendary fighter has now broken his silence, showcasing a video of himself powerfully obliterating the pads. A retired boxing champ has launched a critique of Jake Paul's forthcoming bout with Mike Tyson, labeling it a deliberate attempt to generate controversy and casting doubt on Tyson's role in the ring. The initial announcement of the Paul-Tyson match sparked a wave of backlash from current and former boxing greats, as well as fans. Detractors swiftly highlighted the significant age gap between the two fighters and expressed concerns about Tyson's health as he prepares for his comeback. Iron Mike is back at the gym, committing to an intense 3-month training regimen for his upcoming fight. Yet, former boxing champion Carl Froch has voiced his concerns, suggesting Mike might want to rethink his return to the ring altogether. He said, "I think Mike Tyson's too old to be in the ring. I think that was shown when he got carried off the airplane with his bad back. It's a pro fight just to create more stir. That's just to piss more people off." Froch, who has criticized Jake's boxing career plenty, said his only beef with the problem child is that he can't really fight. He added, "He's got a massive weight advantage on most of the guys he fights. His fights are mismatches. It's an unfair advantage. He's that much of a bitch. He makes it so he's so much heavier than his opponent." After his victory over Perry, the YouTuber-turned-boxer took a swing at UFC champ Alex "Potent" Pereira. However, Dana White quickly dismissed the challenge, stating that Jake Paul no longer poses a significant threat in his opinion. In the boxing world, the consensus seems to be that the upcoming fight is all but decided. At 58, Tyson appears to be an underdog against Paul, who is 31 years his junior. The YouTuber-turned-boxer exudes unwavering confidence about the match, and has even outlined his strategy for the next 5 bouts after his autumn clash with Tyson. Meanwhile, Jake Paul is already planning his next steps after his upcoming clash with Mike Tyson. Asked for his hit list during a recent appearance on the Full Send podcast, Paul replied, Alex Pereira, Conor McGregor, Canelo Alvarez, KSI, Tommy Fury. Despite both Alex Pereira and Conor McGregor still being under UFC contracts, a bout between them appears improbable. Dana White has made his disinterest in collaborating with Paul clear, and in a recent interview with TNT Sports, he firmly dismissed the idea of a Pereira fight. The media eats all his bullshit, and they actually print it. It's the weirdest thing ever, White said, when asked if he would be open to making the fight. White added, I didn't even know Jake Paul was fighting. I was on vacation in Italy and I had no idea. There were all these stories written. It's ridiculous. I stopped paying attention to Jake Paul when he lost to Tommy Fury. When he fought someone that was his age and actually boxed, he lost. Since suffering his only professional loss to Tommy Fury last year, Paul has been unwavering in his demand for a rematch. Despite his tireless efforts, the eagerly anticipated fight remains unconfirmed. After defeating KSI in October, Fury has been out of action due to a hand injury. Among all conceivable matchups, the prospect of facing Canelo Alvarez appears the most improbable, given his enduring dominance in boxing's elite ranks. Nevertheless, if a suitable weight agreement can be negotiated, a clash with KSI might emerge as a compelling alternative in the interim. The difficulty is figuring out the weight, explained Paul. Meanwhile, Butterbean is setting the stage for a high-stakes showdown, with a daring 1.5 million pounds winner takes-all bout against Jake Paul, the YouTube sensation-turned-boxer. While skeptics debate the sense in Paul challenging the 58-year-old Tyson, Butterbean, celebrated for his devastating knockout prowess and 57 KOs from his 90s glory days, is thrilled at the prospect of stepping into the ring with the problem child. Despite the intense attention being paid to the Tyson versus Paul match, Butterbean remains steadfast in his determination to take on the social media phenomenon. Showcasing his impressive punching skills on TikTok, Butterbean has boldly addressed Paul, asserting, Jake Paul, what are you waiting on? Are we gonna do this or what? It comes after Butterbean first suggested a $2 million competition on the site last week. As Paul gazed down at the camera, Butterbean sent him a direct message stating, Hey Jake Paul, would you fight me for $2 million? Winner takes all. The ex-boxing champ, who hung up his gloves in 2013, has voiced a keen interest in taking on Paul, according to the Daily Star. Boasting a formidable 77-10-4 record, this seasoned fighter is itching to make a comeback after a decade-long hiatus, spurred by a remarkable shift in his physique and overall fitness. The once feared heavyweight champion, known for his staggering 36.7 stone weight, has undergone a remarkable metamorphosis. With the help of yoga expert and former WWE star Diamond Dallas Page, he has shed an astounding 15 stone. Just a month ago, Butterbean declared himself to be in the best shape of his life, sparking buzz and anticipation about a possible and sensational return to the ring. Butterbean initially challenged both Paul and Tyson during discussions about a return last year, saying, I'm not a typical boxer, I go out there to fight. I want to knock somebody out. Jake Paul or Mike Tyson? Jake Paul runs his mouth too much. He's never fought anybody. I would love to fight him. I think people would like to see me and Tyson go at it, which would be a hell of a draw. Me and Tyson are actually friends, but I don't mind fighting friends. Legendary heavyweight Larry Holmes has weighed in with his prediction for the highly anticipated fight. With a storied career that includes 75 bouts against the likes of Ernie Shavers, Ken Norton, and the incomparable Muhammad Ali, Holmes' experience is unparalleled. However, it was his 1988 clash with Mike Tyson, where he fought for the WBA, WBC, and IBF titles, that proved to be a formidable test, ending in a memorable defeat for Holmes. In a recent conversation with USA Today, Holmes expressed his support for his former rival, confidently predicting Tyson's triumph in the upcoming match. He said, I'll bet a quarter on Mike Tyson. George Foreman, celebrated for his remarkable returns to the ring, demonstrated his exceptional fortitude by claiming a world title at 45, an extraordinary feat after a decade away from boxing. When NY Fights speculated that Tyson could still drop and stop Paul despite his advancing years, Foreman's response was both straightforward and thought-provoking. He said, "Jake Paul is no pushover, and he is not afraid of any of these guys. Time is on his side. So happy for Mike Tyson. He needed this excitement in his life. Everyone is talking about it. Answer to your question is no." Foreman cautioned Tyson in a separate article with USA Today, continuing to compliment the younger fighter. He said, "Be careful with Paul, only because Paul has tricks. Tyson gets hit with one punch at his age, you start to hear funny noises. The bout between Paul and Mike Tyson is drawing near, and forecasts are rolling in from all directions. As the clock ticks down to the unexpected showdown in Texas this November, anticipation is at an all-time high. Tyson, the youngest heavyweight champion in history, has stayed out of the professional ring since 2005, when his storied career concluded with 2 losses. However, in 2022, he made a brief return to the boxing scene for an exhibition bout with Roy Jones Jr., a match that was deliberately ended in a draw. When Jonathan Ross questioned Anthony Joshua about the upcoming Mike versus Jake clash, the former heavyweight champion voiced his support, arguing that the fight was a win for boxing. Joshua conveyed his own excitement for the bout, acknowledging, however, that it might not resonate with the sport's most devoted fans. He observed that the traditional path to boxing success usually involves advancing from the Olympics to the professional stage. Yet, when a prominent figure unexpectedly enters the ring to face elite opponents, it can be seen by some as challenging the sport's long-standing norms.
I personally think it's really good. I think that the boxing hardcores, like the boxing fanatics, they don't like it because it's like, why are they disrespecting our sport? There's an Olympic system that you have to go through, and once you're qualified there, then you go through to the professional ranks. Whereas someone with a profile can just come out of nowhere and fight one of the best guys.
Joshua explained that if the audience were divided into 2 factions, one being hardcore boxing fans and the other drawn in by a prominent YouTuber, the latter group would likely bring many fresh faces to the sport. He pointed out that boxing, a demanding and rigorous discipline, stands to gain significantly from heightened exposure, making these events crucial for enhancing the sport's visibility.
He kind of goes forward and he just swings big, looping haymakers and generates a lot of power. That's not what you're trying to achieve in amateur boxing, right? It's all about strategy. It's all about landing points. It's a very quick, light on your feet kind of style, in and out, ba 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 ba, landing combinations. You're not swinging like a madman. You're not trying to knock them out. And that essentially is the big difference. Of course, you're wearing headgear. It's in a smaller ring. 3 2-minute rounds. So there's a lot of changes compared to professional boxing.
As he awaited the outcome of the match, he pinned his hopes on the younger contender, worried that Tyson's advancing years might finally take their toll. At the same time, he earnestly hoped that the 58-year-old veteran would finish the fight unscathed. He expressed his main concern as Father Time, a relentless foe that has always triumphed. Joshua recognized Tyson's advancing years and wished him well after the bout. He predicted a win for Jake Paul, attributing his forecast to the decisive advantage of youth. Meanwhile, Joe Rogan has strongly criticized the upcoming fight between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul, advocating for its cancellation. Rogan is deeply worried about Tyson's well-being, highlighting the severe risks involved that could lead to serious injury or even death for the legendary boxer.
Artist who's a contender.
Probably
Well,
wouldn't wanna
guess
see
what? Jake Paul could be that guy if we didn't think of him as Jake Paul. If you look at the people he knocks dead, when he knocked dead Tyron Woodley with one punch, that dude
I was
can
there.
fucking crack.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, so like that's what I'm saying, exactly what you're saying. We don't want to give him credit because it's Jake Paul.
Exactly.
But we gotta wake up and realize that he's still 27, young, and for the last 4, 5, 6, 7 years, he's had the
training
best
consistently.
coaches working with him one-on-one.
Moreover, Joe Rogan acknowledged the significant age difference between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul, but showed some reservations about the matchup. Although he's a seasoned UFC commentator, Rogan admitted he wasn't fully informed on Tyson's current physical condition, despite Tyson's legendary status as the youngest heavyweight champion in boxing history. Still, Rogan suggested a strategy for Tyson to secure a victory, an aggressive attack on Paul right from the start. In the first round, Rogan acknowledged Mike's evident strength, yet expressed concerns about his endurance and physical condition. He pointed out lingering questions about the state of Mike's back, joints, and overall health, implying that these aspects were still somewhat unclear.
He was a wild guy, man.
Genki was supposed to be my first fight in the UFC.
Oh, there's Remy Bonjasky. Remy Bonjasky.
Oh, he's not used to that.
Yeah, he got head kicked.
He said that's all right.
Well, Remy Bonjasky was amazing.
Yeah, he was.
And he fought. He had such an interesting style.
Crazy knees.
Yeah. Hey, man, we just lost Rob Kamen. Rob Kamen.
That
just
sucks.
died.
That really
That was
sucks.
hard.
Nice guy.
I worked out with that guy a lot. I trained with that guy for like
shit.
eight
How's
week
that?
period. It was amazing. He was awesome.
Those Dutch guys are cool, man.
He's the coolest. He was the
It's like
coolest.
Boss. He's super
I did a
cool.
joint seminar with him in Canada one time. He's just a cool guy.
Nice.
Just
That
a
was
cool
it.
guy.
Head kick.
Yeah,
Ray
one
Burch
kick,
was like,
end of it.
check, please.
Thank you, Dad.
I don't enjoy that. Franz Botha,
I
he
didn't
did
sign
well
up
in
for this.
kickboxing. Remember?
Yeah,
Franz
yeah,
Botha
he
fought
did.
Butterbean.
He did. Yeah.
Yeah, he figured out how to do it a little bit, started f***ing people
Yeah.
up. Well, his hands were so good.
Yeah.
Make sure to check out some of our other videos on the screen if you enjoyed this one.